What's up, y'all? Pat Reacts back with another video. I saw this like a week or two ago. Maybe it was even longer than that. And I've been meaning to make a video about it. Just haven't gotten around to it until now. It's about A$AP Rocky cheating on Rihanna, whether it actually happened or not. The conversation that ensued was pretty interesting at the end here. This is from an entire podcast called FreshandFit. I don't agree with a lot of things they say, but sometimes they do make some okay points. I don't watch them all the time, but I saw this and I just gotta make a video, man. We gotta talk about this. Pretty interesting.
So I'll just say, we don't know what's happening behind the scenes. We can only see from social media, articles, stuff like that. So we don't know the full story. But from what we can tell right now, something happened. And if it's true, then I'll just say, man, like, niggas gonna cheat no matter what. Celebrity, bum ass dude, niggas gonna cheat. Now, the fact she's pregnant, damn, that's kind of fucked up. But if he told her from the beginning, hey, I'm gonna be outside, I'm doing my thing, cool. He probably didn't though. So just to be fair. But that being said,
yeah, I think the whole open relationship thing is a garbage thing. It's not going to work for the majority of human beings. One person is going to catch feelings, etc., and be hurt by the other person when they go outside of the relationship. So even if there was some sort of thing like that, which I don't know why you would have a child with somebody that wants to have an open relationship, because it means, there's no guarantees that they'll stay around, be a part of the kid's life, etc. I don't know. And then saying that dudes are just going to cheat because that's what they do, that's garbage. Maybe that's what you do. I ain't never cheated on nobody in my entire life. And if I had feelings like I'm super attracted to these other people, etc., and they didn't go away, then there's something wrong with the relationship I'm currently in, because why do I have these feelings? In which case, you just end the relationship. So, over being a liar and pretending that everything's great, or you work it out, one of the two. But you definitely don't just cheat on somebody because you meet somebody else and you have feelings for them. It's a pretty bad thing to do. I don't know why this is even an argument. Maybe it's indicative of what 2022 is like. The newer generations are seeing relationships in different ways than maybe their parents, etc., thought of it as. But I don't necessarily agree or think it's any better. And I don't think it's going to lead to people being happy.
Once again, niggas gonna cheat no matter what. Sorry.
And by happy, I do not mean that you are going to be happy all the time. I think that's a joke too. Is like life is up and down, so you aren't going to always be happy or content. But if you can find people to surround yourself with that, and respect, care about you, etc., through the good times and the bad, you're going to be all right.
Right here, she didn't find out until after, but she's pregnant though, so that's fucked up.
Man, I don't give a fuck.
And here we go. This is gonna be pretty interesting.
I'm just gonna say this shit. I was taking some notes, so let me just go talk about this objectively. I'm probably gonna trigger some people, but let me read.
And remember, he said objectively.
The super chat real quick. Red Rabbit, $300 Canadian. Thank you so much, my friend. Just got a new job making $300,000 a year. Thanks for helping me increase my repertoire with Money Mondays. Bought several real estates, and bought my first house and enjoying life. Much love.
Shout out to you, bro.
What the hell do I tell y'all? There's a reason why 90+% of millionaires are made it through real estate, man. That's where I put most of my money. So yes, keep investing in real estate, bro. While they hate, we buy real estate. Okay.
I agree.
So let's talk about some facts over here, because a lot of you ladies mentioned feelings.
Oh, gross. He's using the facts over feelings, which, I mean, granted, there are some times where I feel like people are so clouded by their emotional investment in the situation that they're not willing to look at the facts. So let's hear what his facts have to say and if they align with reason or not.
So here's the facts. Rihanna's famous, international star, 34 years old, net worth of 1.7 billion, and she's had sex with several men publicly. Okay. A$AP Rocky, 33 years old, rapper, worth about 10 million, famous, and he's at his peak. Ladies, whether you want to accept it or not, Rihanna is on her decline. A$AP Rocky is in his peak. A woman that's 34 years old is not the same as a man that's 33 years old. Okay? Women, as they get older, lose value. I don't care what nobody says, it's biological fact. Okay? Now, not only that, but she's pregnant. Okay? So
Oh, God. So you notice how he framed it? Okay. Rihanna's rich, successful, slept with a lot of men. A$AP Rocky, he's rich, famous, he's at his peak, even though I'm sure he's slept with a lot of women. So it's interesting that he phrases that way. He's using different metrics for each one of them. And then secondly, let's go back and hear this last little tidbit, even though I really don't want to have to hear everything 28 times again.
woman that's 34 years old is not the same as a man that's 33 years old. Okay? Women, as they get older, lose value. I don't care what nobody says, it's biological fact. Okay? Now, not only that, but she's pregnant.
So he says women, as they get older, lose value. And I think that's garbage. I think, yes, men do like looks, so that is important. But I do not think that is the only value women have to bring to the table. I mean, I wouldn't say that about my mother. So, and honestly, her looks are probably the last thing that I value from her. It's her opinion, her judgment. The older she's gotten, the more patient and wise she's become. So I respect her more as a human being for that. So to say that somebody loses value, it's like, what do you mean by value? And I think it's pretty clear here. He has a very shallow perspective of value. And so for him, he's like, the only value a woman can bring to him, because he's a shallow man that has no substance, is their looks and sex. And he's not particularly saying that, but I'm pretty sure he'll say something to that later on in this clip, because I have watched it before. So I think that's a garbage take. In general, humans are, I do think there are fickle people that would only focus on somebody's looks, but why would you ever want to be with somebody that's like that? Because they have nothing past that. And if you base your relationship, solely on looks, you're going to be vastly disappointed on both ends, girl or guy. Later on in life, so it needs to be about things beyond just that. That might be something that makes you notice them at first, but I don't think I've ever said, man, this girl's just so sexy, so I'm just gonna date her, and then everything else about her is terrible and I just continue to date her. Absolutely not. I might go, wow, I'm attracted to this person. Then I get to know him better. I'm like, never mind. Or I'm more attracted, But it's about a mindset, or that's what it should be. That's what it should be going into. And it should not just be going into how are they going to benefit me in every aspect of my life. I think you should go into a relationship with an unselfish mindset and saying that, how can I help the other person? And if both of you are going in saying, what can I do to make you satisfied, make you content, make you at peace, make you enjoy being with me. You know, make me feel as if like you're being fair to me and I'm being fair to you, that we're willing to work things out in a manner where it's not all about me. You're never going to be in a relationship if it's all about you. Selfishness will, I think, destroy a lot of things in your life, not just relationship wise. Being selfish is not a good thing.
Okay? So she doesn't have the same sexual market value and attraction level as other women. The girl that he cheated on her with, 36 years old, not as famous, worth about $7 million, and her sexual history isn't as well known as Rihanna.
So he just, I didn't even notice this the first time I watched the video. He just used the age and the fact that Rihanna is actually younger than the girl that he dated with, but her sexual history is less known. And that's why the guy cheated on Rihanna with her. Like, that doesn't even make sense. That's a logical fallacy. You just stated that men are looking for women based off of their looks and their youth. And then you just discounted the fact that Rihanna's younger. And I would say she looks as good, if not better, than this girl when they finally show a picture of her. It's like, come on, bro. Now, I'm pretty sure I heard that this didn't actually happen, and it was just a rumor, and it ended up not being true. But the fact that they defended it the way that they did right here is just, ugh.
All right? Now, here's an unpopular opinion that people don't want to understand. By Rihanna waiting to get in a serious relationship, waiting to have children, building up her career, her music repertoire, etc., what she did was she increased her net worth, but she decreased her relationship worth at the same time. Because women age like milk, men age like wine, assuming they do the work, of course. If you get old as a guy and you don't do the work, you're just going to be a poor old nigga. So you got to do the work. But with women, that clock is running. And the thing is that your money and your success as a woman doesn't mean shit. And it's proven. We literally compared.
Oh, God. So while I do agree with him that men don't necessarily look at a woman based off of like her status or income, and I do think that women do that to men, where they view them, part of the reason they choose them or don't choose them is, are they, what kind of money are they making? What are they bringing to the table? But the more women join the workforce and have like real careers and make good money, I think women have to shift their perspective to seeing men in a different light. And men don't necessarily have to shift their opinion, because most guys I know, they're just looking for a woman that wants to be with them, respects them, is going to be caring, loving, things that you would want from a mom, especially if you want to have kids. You want somebody that's going to take care of the kids and help you take care of them and be, authoritative, but also create respect and trust and build great human beings that are going to do something and improve the world around them. And if you're having kids and that's not your goal, is to like make, not make them, you can't make anybody do anything, but try to instruct and guide someone to be something with their life, to achieve what they can achieve. Nothing's ever equal. People will always, there's very few successful people in the world, and by success, I'm saying like ultra rich, can do whatever they want, spend all the time in the world on whatever project, etc. they want to, go on trips, vacations. There's very few people that can actually do that. Even ultra wealthy people are workaholics a lot of times. and don't actually get to spend most of their money because they work crazy amounts of hours. But yeah, interesting.
Her net worth and her status to his, she eclipses him.
Yes.
But it doesn't matter, because the problem with successful women, and Rihanna's a perfect example of this, is you become a victim of your success. And not only do you become a victim.
I don't think this is just for successful women. This is for successful men too. Anytime that you make a lot of money, especially when it's known, and you become popular, you're a status symbol, yada yada, it is much harder to find people that are genuinely there for the right reasons. And you have to be much pickier and more selective with who you choose to date, etc., get in a relationship. It's a lot harder to find somebody that you can be in a long-term relationship with when you're rich on either end of the spectrum, guy or girl. You know, so because people will try and manipulate you and use you. There's so many times this has happened. It's crazy. That's why there's the whole thing of, you know, being a gold digger, or I don't even know what you would call a guy. I should look that up, but I'm sure there's a term for guys that try and date rich women and get their money. But you know, people have done that throughout time and history. So I think it doesn't just fall on women. And after a certain point of money, it's like it's really not even about the money anymore.
Your success, you become a victim of your success, your age, and in this case, being pregnant. She can't replace ASAP Rocky like ASAP Rocky can replace her. That's the facts.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, she can't replace him like he can replace her, you know, because she's pregnant. I don't know. I don't see how he's coming like that. Like, what kind of man are you, dude?
Okay?
No, it's
Because
not.
anyway, he has more options than she does.
It is true, though.
Because here's the difference. He literally got with a girl that makes less money, isn't as famous, isn't as prevalent. Why? Because men don't care about status and income, but women do.
Yeah.
I mean, I do agree with men don't care about status and income when it comes to dating, and women do. I do agree with that. But I think it has to do a lot more with biology, and that, you know, in the past, you know, when you have a child and go through pregnancy, etc., you can get sick, all sorts of pregnancy complications. You know, you might have to go on disability and you won't get paid your full paycheck. So, you know, it's important to have a guy that can sort of cover those bases while you're going through that if you want to have children together. And that's why it's like that, you know, that's why it matters more to women. I don't think it's necessary just because women are straight up 100% shallow and that's the only thing they look. But I think you could say the same thing about men, and it's like, well, the only thing they care about is looks, you know, and that's kind of shallow too. So it goes both ways. You should always try and treat a human being with respect, regardless, and not just be trying to get things out of them. But that's a garbage take.
Rihanna needs to date someone at least her level, if not above, preferably. So who has the leverage? ASAP Rocky does. Okay? So Rihanna should know this, and this is a warning to all the women out there that want to be strong and successful. When you date, as you become more and more strong and successful, you become a victim of your own success, and you're going to have to tolerate certain behaviors from certain types.
So now he's basically saying that once you become successful, you know, especially for women towards men, you're just going to have to tolerate your man being a cheater.
Of men. As you go up the totem pole, the men that you deal with are going to have options, and they're
because God forbid, you know, these high value men aren't just controlled by their dick. God forbid. You know, God forbid they have some discipline, which they should at the point, if they've reached this level of success, they should have some discipline and be able to say no and be smart about decisions they make, you would think, to be successful. But maybe not, man.
We're gonna fucking exercise them. Because what women don't understand is that men have to fight tooth and nail to get their sexual options. Okay? Women are trust fund babies, men are self-made millionaires. So if you're a self-made millionaire, you cannot dictate how a self-made millionaire spends his money as a trust fund baby. You can't. Okay, but women.
Oh, that's a lot to unpack. Women are trust fund babies. I do think that men, to an extent, do have to, because of what women look for, like, say, in a relationship, especially at the beginning, before they really know you or whatever, right? They're gonna look for things like, or your status, how much money you make, etc. Your looks too. But dudes, have a lot. They have to fill a lot of shoes. So I do think it does require a decent amount of work to become a successful man, that makes good money, has their life together in order, etc. And I don't think necessarily women are just given everything in life, either, though. So to say that they're trust fund babies, I think it's like, it is. There's definitely the thing of, like, dads want to give their daughters the world, so they kind of like baby them, and etc. Because I don't know, it's just like a thing, the father-daughter dynamic, of being like, they love their kid and they want to take care of them, but sometimes they get too much into that and they hamper their ability to grow and be independent by making them almost like they're attached to you more as a girl, because your father's so willing to give you everything that it allows women to do a lot of things that maybe a guy wouldn't be given the same thing. Like, a good example is I watched a podcast with Shaquille O'Neal the other day, and he was talking about his sons and daughters and how whenever his sons turn 18, he's just going to kick them out of the house and they're just going to have to, like, figure life out. But he's like, yeah, my daughters can stay in the house for forever, and he's going to pay for their college and everything that they do until they're ready to leave. And it's like, that kind of hypocrisy is interesting. But I do think that happens more than you would think it does too. So he does have some points here, but I think saying that, it's tough, there's all these things you have to do as a man, so that's why it's okay for you to be a cheater. That's the part that is, like, just bogus, because it's like, just because you have to work hard for something does not mean that you gain some ability to basically be a dishonest, distrustful, unworthy person, and to show such a lack of respect for your partner. Pretty shocking to me that you would make that stretch and say that it's okay for him to cheat just because he had to work to what he got to. Like, even if it was the opposite and it was a girl and she said, oh yeah, I'm allowed to cheat because I had to work to be able to get to this point where you would even date me, etc. It's just garbage. Like, it's just not a very good take.
Women don't understand that they're given their value, men have to earn theirs. So become successful, cool. Just understand that when you become successful, you meet a successful guy, he's going to exercise.
And I do think when he says given their value, again, he is solely basing it off of looks, which is such a shallow perspective. And while, yes, there is a part, of, like, when you first meet people, etc., it's going to be based off of looks. And obviously you have to be attracted to somebody. And because guys don't pick women based off of their income, they're a lot less picky about the women they pick. So a rich man will very happily date somebody that is way less off than him. It's not as big a deal. But I think statistically shown, it's like women don't generally do that. So they're going to try and date somebody of equal or higher status than themselves. So there is some truth to it, but it's also like, again, that does not mean that you should be given the ability to cheat on somebody, pregnant or not pregnant. Like, it's just a disrespect to that person. And I don't see how you can say that that's a good take.
As options, because ASAP Rocky is at his peak, Rihanna is on her decline. Then on top of that as well, she's had sex with a bunch of dudes. It's lowered her value in the marketplace, period. And what I want to say is this: Rihanna has a secure relationship with the guy, with ASAP Rocky. I'm sure he loves her.
ASAP Rocky, I'm sure, has had a lot of sex with a lot of girls too. I don't think anybody views Rihanna less, especially nowadays, because she's had sex with people. I mean, yes, like, I think anybody that you find out, like, there's a guy that I went to high school with, right? That, when he got out of high school, he had like more than 150 partners or more at that point. And, it was kind of boggling to me that people found that attractive. But then again, I don't think a lot of the people knew how bad it really was. A lot of the girls he talked to didn't fully know, And some of them, that's just what they wanted. They wanted sex, so they didn't care. But I do think it does lower your value some. Like, it's going to be hard to sell that to a woman if you have to tell them, yeah, 10 years down the road, I've had more than 1,000 partners, but I'm going to be happy with you. Pretty stupid take. That's not going to be true. So I think the more you guy or girl, the more you sleep around, I do think it affects subconsciously what you're going to be happy with. It makes it harder and harder to find somebody that when it comes to like the sexual side of it, you would be happy with. But again, a lot of that is still based 100% on like your selfish desire and needs. And if you're just focusing on yourself, then it's like, why even get married? Why even have children? Why even be in a relationship? If you're just about yourself and I want to make myself happy, then why even do it? Because the simple fact of the matter, especially if you're going to have children with somebody, is that, you're not going to always be happy. You're going to be stressed out financially, relationship wise. Your kids, you have to give a lot to children, and I think a lot of people that are single don't really understand what it's like to be a kid, until you go and do it. And I don't have any children, but man, my buddy, when him and his wife had their kid and he had half his heart missing, and I went over there and spent like a weekend or something with him. And this poor kid, was in so much pain because he doesn't have half his heart and they had to put a shunt in it and everything. Poor baby can't talk, doesn't know what to say. And they can't give him more medication because he's a child, there's only so much they can give. And so, we had to try and console him. And let me tell you, the work you had to put in, it was not about you. And you had no choice because that kid kept crying. Even if you were unhappy with him crying, you couldn't reason with him. You couldn't tell him to stop feeling pain. There's nothing you can do. So if you're just focused on yourself, like imagine being in that situation and being a selfish person. Like you couldn't even handle a situation like that. So, I think part of being a parent is learning that life doesn't revolve all around you. And the older that you get, the more you realize something like that. So I think the main problem with Fresh and Fit and Myron and I don't even know the other guy's name is that their whole focus is self-centered. It's all about them. So when you put that into perspective, a lot of their viewpoints make much more sense because it's all about them. It's not about making somebody else happy. It's about, as long as it makes me happy, I'm happy. You know, that's it. Which is an extremely selfish way to live life. And I would argue that you will never find peace, contentment, satisfaction with who you are and where you're at in life if your only focus is about yourself.
We're having a kid together, whatever. Why is her happiness prioritized over his? He's probably not getting sexually satisfied right
now. Look, see? It's all about him. So since he's not getting what he feels he needs, you know, even though this woman's pregnant, etc. And I'm not saying that there isn't an argument to be made that, you know, people will do some weird things in relationship what they like withhold from each other or like whatever. I don't think that's healthy to do either. But to say that because she doesn't want to have sex with him because she's pregnant, that it's okay for him to cheat is such a selfish, self-centered view. And he's so into this. Like, he so believes this. Like, you can see it with everything that he's saying. Like, he wants to be right about this. And he could not be more wrong. Like, you're just a selfish human being. And I don't think you would ever be able to have any sort of relationship. And maybe you're just a, you know, it doesn't matter as long as I'm happy. That's all that matters. So, you know, I don't need to please the woman I'm with. I don't need to give her anything that she desires. As long as I'm happy, I'm happy. And that's a very selfish, despicable, and, you know, I don't think it's a livable lifestyle. You're just never going to be happy because you're always going to want more and more and more. You can't stay satisfied. Dude, and by the way, look at this girl's face right here. She's like, man, I don't like this. I don't think any of them agree. But they might say they agree, but, you know, yeah.
Right now. She's older. He has a bunch of hot chicks that want to fuck him. Why can't he exercise options and go get these other chicks? Men can fuck other girls and not care.
I think that's bullshit, too. Excuse the language, but saying that men don't have feelings is such a garbage take that people use all the time. It's like, men do have feelings. We just might not show them in the same way, or we might control them in a way. But, you know, I have feelings. You know, I do. I know this is crazy for you to hear, but and for me to go and cheat with another girl would affect my relationship. I don't care what anybody says. You're not going to go have sex with another person and then it not do something to your relationship. He's full of crap. He's full of crap. Most likely because he just wants to have sex with lots of different women. He's not interested in being committed. He doesn't want to have children. He doesn't want any of that responsibility. He just wants to be rich and have sex, maybe even do drugs, you know, just party. Like, it's all about him. His lifestyle is all about him first. And everybody else is secondary to him.
You know, we're not the same. Like, a man can 100% love his wife and go fuck other girls. So why is his happiness being suppressed?
That's just such a crazy statement. Like, I don't even need to
keep her happiness there. Like, why can't she accept fucking other chicks?
Nesting state.
Hold on, let me finish. Let me finish. So we live in a world where female happiness is always overrides male happiness. If a guy goes out and fucks other chicks, he's demonized. But if a chick gets security from that man, we prioritize that. So my thing is just this. I'm looking at it from the other angle. Rihanna is not.
So he gives her security, so it's okay for him to cheat. And she should just be okay with it because she got security from him. What? What? That doesn't make sense. You don't live in reality, my dude. You're crazy. Like, that's so stupid. I can't believe that he's saying this with such a straight face. Like, he 100% believes it. And I don't know why his buddy is believing it too, because this is some BS.
Not in a strong negotiating position to dictate terms anymore.
I just know because I know how Rihanna thinks a little bit. I actually want to school her, and just the fact that like,
You went to school with Rihanna?
yeah, she's in this predicament
From
right now.
Barbados,
I know
right?
for a fact, bro, she ain't having none of this shit happening, bro. She's mad as hell right now. I already know. So him cheating, doing whatever, she's probably done with his ass. But
So what?
But
People replace her faster than him. Like,
No,
it don't
but-
matter.
yeah, but just
luck to him.
The mentality, I already know she's not fucking with that. at all.
Barbados.
No, but let's be realistic. Nobody
Yeah.
has been
Yeah, and I feel like any self-respecting woman, if your man, you know, your husband, your boyfriend, whatever situation you got going on, if he did this to you while you were pregnant, I mean, it might be a hard decision to make, but I just firmly believe that if you are cheating on somebody in a relationship, it's not going to work out. You do not respect the other person. And because of that, you know, you're being selfish and going outside of the relationship, which means that you're not working through your problems. You're not coming to an understanding when it comes to like what you need, what they need, what's going wrong, what isn't. You're not talking about what's actually going on. You don't want to have conversations like that. And you're going and cheating to like fulfill something that you're not getting in your relationship. And I get that there is an allure and temptation to you meet a handsome man, you meet a beautiful girl, and they show interest in you, and you're not around your significant other or whatever. I get that there's a temptation to have to want to be wanted by someone, and like the temptation's there, but just because your body reacts and says, hey, wow, that might be cool, does not mean that you just go with it. Unless you believe that you have no control over who you are and your body. And so, you know, if you believe that, then, I mean, I guess live your life. But I have control over my decision making. And I might not always make the right decision. And a lot of times after the fact of making a decision, I might second guess myself, etc., etc. I think that's a human thing. But to say that you have no control over that, and well, she just, you know, you are making a conscious decision to cheat. There is always going to be temptations. I mean, you work at a gas station, say, and you're the clerk, or anywhere that you handle cash, there's always a temptation to steal the cash. You know, something weird happens and they might not be able to catch you because this, and that, you know. There's so many things in life that are temptations. You are always going to be tempted. Something, for whatever reason, is going to pull you to say yes to it, even though in your mind, you know, like, say, drug use, going to a party, being offered something, right? There's a temptation to do it. It does not mean that you are beholden to that and cannot say no. You have a choice to make in those moments, and to pretend otherwise is just a joke, man.
checking for ASAP Rocky since like 2013. Nobody gives a fuck
Thank
about
you.
ASAP Rocky.
Yeah.
Respectfully.
I mean,
dog.
Everybody cares about Rihanna. She's
Mhm.
more than a legend.
And honestly, it kind of blows my mind that every single one of these people haven't brought up any of the points I've just made. They just sat there and let him say all that crap. And I guess it doesn't even pass through your mind, you know, like
She's an icon.
another arguing about something and about who she should have been dating, which in truth is kind of funny because it's like, it's actually going back to what he said and proving him a little bit right, in the sense that, look, They heard all this garbage that he just said, that basically it's okay for this man to cheat on his girl, etc. And now they're arguing about, well, why is she even with A$AP Rocky? She should be with Drake because Drake has a higher or as much of a status as she does. But, that's a huge flaw, to be looking for somebody that just makes more money than you, is more famous than you. The chances of you having personalities and personality types that match, families that get along, humor that matches, all that you can communicate to each other, that you have lifestyles that can work with each other, because somebody that's famous is going to be pulled to have to do all these different things. You're not going to get to see each other all the time, etc. You might have to have a lot of long distance relationship to focus simply on that and say, well, but they have like the status and money to be the same. That is such a trap. Just because somebody doesn't make as much money of you is not indicative of their character and who they are and what they represent in their life. I think it's pretty easy to see through that and say, hey, are they trying? Do they want to? And to focus solely on just making money. I mean, anybody can work 80 hours a week. I work a ton of hours a week right now. I don't have a lot of time to myself for relationships, etc. But I don't want to do that for forever, because I am more than well aware of what I think a lot of women are more aware of than men, is that, career isn't everything. And there is more to life than just focusing on being rich and famous, and I think that stems back to like an unselfish or selfish lifestyle. I think you have to find a balance. I'm not saying be unselfish and just let people walk all over you, but I am saying, if somebody's reciprocating it, and even sometimes when they aren't, when maybe they're in the wrong, but for whatever reason their emotions are clouding their judgment and they're making a bad decision, sometimes you have to let them fall and be there and not be the person that's just like, I told you so. You suck. I told you so. You could have avoided all of this. It doesn't really help the person at all, but it is good to be like, hey, to warn someone and say, hey, you probably shouldn't do this because of this, this, and that. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. It's just kind of crazy to think that everything is about you. And I think if you live a life that it's just about you, you're never gonna find the contentment, the peace, the satisfaction that you want.
It's Rihanna. She should have been with Drake. She should have been way better off. No, but she should have been. Nobody cares about A$AP Rocky. This is fact.
Can you choose who to fall in love with?
No.
So just to be fair here, Rihanna fell in love with Rocky.
Did she though?
Drake.
Okay,
man,
but
these
I'm saying
people
she
spelling down here.
She had nobody's baby but his baby.
God, we gotta
All
teach America about proper grammar, man. Like this is too much. This is not good.
saying is that objectively, Rihanna, from a power dynamic perspective, nobody cares about A$AP Rocky compared to Rihanna.
Are you Rihanna?
No.
So you can tell the girl who's
I know.
No, but
I know
I'm
who
just saying
cares.
Rihanna is more like
She cares.
Man.
she is.
Yeah.
Here's the picture.
Come on, man. Everybody's more
I
people
feel
are
like she looks better than Rihanna.
She
and I don't
does.
care what nobody
She
say.
does.
So she looks better than Rihanna, so it's okay to cheat.
That
That's
girl look
facts.
better than Rihanna though.
Because what women fail to understand, this is crazy. You keep appealing to, you're using a male metric of success to justify her getting cheated on. And I'm telling you, men don't give a fuck about a woman's status. I literally read Rihanna's numbers off and I read her numbers off. Rihanna trumps her in every single card, but guess what? He went and fucked the girl below him because men don't care about your money, your status,
Facts.
your income. We don't give a fuck. So you're using a male metric of success. It's like, bruh, when you're a man and you become successful, you'll date a girl that's 18, 20, 21. Matter of fact, how many millionaires have you dated?
A few.
Okay, are you a millionaire yourself?
No.
That proves my point. Men will date down if they can. Beauty and youth is what men care about the most. We don't care about a woman's income. So you're arguing, she should have done this, she should have done that. Hey, man, it's irrelevant because ASAP Rocky has leverage. And this is the thing that modern day women don't like. When men have their leverage, they always try to demonize them. You're a cheater. You're an asshole. You're toxic. But no one says shit when girls are out here finessing niggas on dates, getting flew down, now fucking. Nobody batted an eye when we talked about that, did we? Nobody cared.
Okay, I will give him this, is that I, you know, from personal experience, when I used to be like a bartender and a server and stuff, you know, I had a lot of friends or girlfriends that I knew that, you know, not girlfriend as in I was boyfriend and girlfriend, but just friends that were girls. And they did a lot of that stuff, and pretty much nobody, including myself at that time, called them out on it. Now, I didn't necessarily agree with it, you know, because they would basically, like, you know, say like older guys come in to the bar and they drink at the bar. The girls would be extra flirty to them, you know, be super nice to them. These dudes would get attached to them. They would take him out on dates, etc. They would never give him anything. They wouldn't have sex with him. They would just go out on dates, like give him a little bit of their time. You know, there was a guy, and he freaking spent thousands of dollars on some of these bartenders, giving them Gucci purses, and they were all totally happy with that. So I do think, you know, there is an issue, and I don't think it is just necessarily like dudes being losers, but I don't think, you know, I don't think that is right. I don't think manipulating and using somebody that you know is in a bad place in life, that for some reason is trying to feel like this loneliness they have, and they're coming here and then you're just abusing that loneliness. That's not good. You're not a good person for doing that, you know, but neither are you a good person if you cheat on your significant other. Like, you're not a good man if just because you have money and status, you use that to have sex with all these different women, and you have a wife and you're still outside of the relationship. Like, that's so disrespectful. Like, what woman would ever be okay with that? And to try and make the claim that they should be, etc., is just mind-boggling to me. I think I've pretty much covered it. I don't think there's really much more to say on this. I don't agree with this guy's take at all. Myron is, when it comes to this, he is full of a bunch of BS. And it's actually crazy. If you go read the comments on this, like, check this video out. Myron explained why ASAP Rocky cheated on Rihanna. Fresh and Fit podcast. Go check it out. Read the comments. It's actually sad. There are so many people in the comment section that like are agreeing with what he said. It's like, you're just, no, man. Like, what is this? What are we teaching people? You know, like, why are we even listening to this guy? Like, what does he have to say? Like, why can't you objectively look at somebody's viewpoint, no matter where they come from, and say, does this really make sense? Does this align with, like, reality and truth and etc.? Instead, it's like, no, you know, they just, like, accept it because it seems sort of, like, logical. But there's so many problems with what he says. And, you know, there's a whole room full of people, and not one of them stands up. Not one of them comes up with any of these points I came up with. And they just kind of let him bulldoze them into believing that it's okay for a man that is well off to cheat on his woman because he has options. Because that's basically, at the end of the day, what he's saying, regardless of who the person is, which is just a terrible take. You're not a good human being. You're selfish, and that's all that it comes down to. If he gets mad at me about that, I'm just telling the truth, man. Well, peace. Y'all have a good one. Till next time.